We are here once again, and Brian has kindly offered to once again regale you because that's what Brian does. What does regale even mean, Brian? I'm not sure.
I assume lavish with some kind of excitement. I'm not sure because it could be a number of things.
I thought it was something to do with humor. That was what I was hoping anyway. Are you
Mm,
planning to bring us
mm.
humor? By the way, will you still have your Christmas tree up in February?
Well, the tree is always there. My thought was I added one ornament a day. I should remove one a day.
Well, there you go. There you go. But
Yeah.
like some of my neighbors still are showing their lights in February. I was thinking maybe, you could, anyway, I'm not sure. Does anybody care?
I don't know. We'll find out in the comments.
All right. Well, let's get into it, Brian. We had a breaking news story last week. The entire world was blown away by the headline, so much so that the headline was repeated in Yahoo and every place you could possibly think of. And it had to do with the fact that you and I, as Tesla drivers, are by far the worst drivers in history. Something.
It's true. It's true, Randy. All of it. The lies, the made up stuff, the manipulated numbers, all of it's true. So what happened was it all seems to have stemmed from a single article in Fortune, which relied heavily on abuse of statistics. So, and you've got to dig. Oh, they make it fun to dig because you've got to follow. Well, it's not actually, I'm not the one telling the lie. This is Lending Tree published an article. And then you got to follow that and find that the numbers are based on a study by Quote Wizard. So who's Lending Tree? Well, they're a website you go to when you have bad credit to try and find somebody who will just give you money that isn't too usury. And the study from Quote Wizard, well, who's Quote Wizard? They're a high risk insurance quote website that will find you a million different insurance companies that might work with you. So already you can see that these numbers are not necessarily going to be representative. At Quote Wizard, what you do is you enter your driving history, self-reported, and please be honest because that's what your quote's going to be, and what kind of car you wish to insure in the future. And what they found is people who wish to insure a Tesla in the future have a bunch of accidents. So this is not a representative sample, and it doesn't capture what car you were driving when you were in an accident. It captured what car you wish to insure in the future. Tesla's new enough on the market that it's reasonable to assume most people looking for a quote on one today did not have one yesterday.
Yes.
And this garbage propagated far and wide. Would you like to know a little bit about the author? He is a huge analyst. He's an industry analyst. Now, Fortune allows you to become a contributor. They have different tiers of what an author is. And this is not a staff author. This is not a paid freelancer. This is a contributor. Where you sign up and say, look, I'm an expert in my field. Can I contribute? And they go, yeah, but we ain't going to pay you. And they say, that's fine. I'm already paid by someone else.
Someone else.
Who are his customers?
Yes.
Shell, BP, Saudi Aramco. He consults to all the big oil companies.
Oh, really?
So how about that? Isn't it odd that he would then also determine Tesla drivers are the worst, Randy? We are. You and I can agree the worst. A lot of times I don't even drive my car.
Right. Well, so there you go. So we were having this discussion, Brian, you and I, last week, and it's been an ongoing discussion about, whether or not reporters out there can be bought and paid for, whether reporters might make decisions based on who their buddies are in the field, whether they might make decisions based on who their advertisers are. And only, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago, you were telling me, no, all these reporters are wonderful, honest human beings. But this report,
I don't recall those exact words. What I said is who advertises on my company doesn't affect who I write about, because I'm motivated by clicks as the writer. If you look at, and by the way, this terrible, terrible author got a lot of clicks on
I
his
bet he
Fortune
did.
article.
Yes,
It really raised his profile.
I'm sure.
He knows which side his bread is buttered on, butter side down, I'm pretty sure. So uh, the one that I saw yesterday that really got under my skin a bit was I posted this thing about Rolling Stone, and people came back saying, well, they're owned by the Penske people who own a bunch of car dealerships.
Right, right.
And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. They aren't. They are not.
Oh,
And people gave me huge pushback. How dare you? I go, let's stop this. Let's stop the conspiracies. Jay Penske owns a media company, and that's it. It's the family's legacy name that you're looking at.
uh-huh.
The Penske leasing, the Penske trucking, all the big names you're familiar with are not Jay Penske. They're someone else in the family. Well, yes, but the racetrack, I think Daytona is owned by the Penskes. Yes, but not by Jay.
Mm.
And if you're saying that they own a bunch of Toyota dealerships, they don't. And if you look at Rolling Stone and search for Toyota, you'll find the only two favorable articles since the Penske family got into that business is that Toyota showed up on a list of good used cars. And as a kind of a footnote in an article, they said, Honda and Toyota already make hybrids. That's it. So if they're using this to advance internal combustion, they're doing a bad job. And if you look up climate change on Rolling Stone, you'll find that they are they're staunch advocates for climate change awareness and action. That's not something you do when you're also trying to dissuade people from going green.
Right.
The pieces don't fit. Please stop before it's. And a guy said, well, I'm still going to believe. I said, let's remain evidence based, you guys. The simple fact is they want clicks, and this gets clicks. That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. I swear. Now, there could be something nefarious behind it, but my gosh, would it be so well hidden as to not even be effective?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because I bought it hook, line, and sinker. In fact, there was a tweet yesterday. Sorry, there was a post on X yesterday. I might have even been Elon that posted about this idea that we will have an expertise in an area. We will look at an article that we have expertise in. We will go, that's completely bogus. Everything about that article is bogus. And then the very next article we read, we believe it because we don't have expertise.
And that's the fact. Anyone who has seen like a local news story unfold and then read the coverage said, oh my gosh, they got just everything wrong. There are exceptions to this, but they are exceptions. And yeah, it's frustrating. I think Elon would have a better understanding of the media if he followed me. So I'm going to just tell you right now, Mr. Musk, because I know you watch Randy Kirk, that you should follow me,
Yeah, read my books, follow Brian, follow me, follow all of us YouTubers, and then let's have a big meeting someday, maybe a 3-hour meeting where you take the top 20, because I don't think I'll make the top 10 like you. You made the top 10 list. I did.
for sure. I definitely would have made the top 10.
Anyway, pick the top 20. Let's have a big meeting. Everybody gets 5 questions. I don't know. We really, really need to get the YouTubers involved in the Elon Musk interviewing business. And even though Kathy does a lovely job at everything she does, her interview was not as good as yours would have been.
Oh, I didn't know she interviewed him. I did listen to the infomercial she had last week with him on. But that was kind of different. I actually live streamed that, and the whole time I had people posting on X pictures of the look on my face while I'm falling asleep listening to this incredibly insightful ad for ARK. Now I do have shares in ARK K, but yeah, that's the thing is I put in a pretty good amount, just like I did with Tesla, and my Tesla is now an outsized portion of my portfolio.
Yes.
And my ARK K is not.
Not so much. Not so much.
Not so much. Not so much. I don't regret it. but and I still have confidence in it. I'm not selling it, but come on. So
Well, I do have one more thought on my mind today,
I
and my
want to hear
mother
it.
says that's all I can handle at a time.
Oh my gosh, she's such a
So,
lovely lady.
yes, well, anyway, it is the fact that
Is she single? No, never mind. Go ahead.
yeah, she is single. She's 97 and a
Yeah,
half. So,
you know,
so,
whatever.
yeah, look her up later. Anyway, we have, we have, we have 1 week from today, we will get the numbers.
Oh
I
yeah.
think there's very little, there's not a wide range of opinion. I feel like everybody is like, okay, Troy, whatever you say is okay with me. That's what I feel like's happening. It may not be. But last time, and actually over the last couple of years, you've been really close. I got one
Mhm.
of them really
You,
close,
you
but I have
did.
not like consistently like you have. So what is your number for next Tuesday?
Well, what's Troy saying?
Troy, the last time I looked, and I think it would be legal for me, or appropriate for me to say now, because I got it off his Patreon. Because I pay other people on Patreon, Brian.
Yeah,
Yes, I do.
yeah.
And so, maybe some folks should send you and me. Anyway, talk about an advertisement, advertorial. All right. So I think he is saying that he thinks they might miss by this much of hitting the
Mhm.
1.8.
And Troy does put out all of those estimates 1 week later. So it's not this is what I've seen from him over the quarter is and a lot of quarters he'll start very, very high or very, very low and then migrate to the middle. But this quarter he's been pretty consistent
Right.
and the evidence supports it.
Okay.
So what we're all seeing is there's not a lot of room for growth in Fremont.
Right.
Uh, Texas is probably about flat. Berlin might be slightly up, leaving just China.
Mhm.
And Cybertruck is not contributing meaningfully at this point. If we move 100, 200 units, that's a rounding error. Even if we move 1,000, that's a rounding error. Uh, so how is Shanghai doing? Last week we saw registrations are up 30%, 38% year over year, leading us to believe that this could be a decent quarter, but flat is the expectation. It is my expectation. Um, but I'm going to say not miss by a hair, but beat by a hair
Keep my head.
because Q4 is historically strong
Mhm.
and there is good production out of China.
Mhm. Yeah.
And there's no reason to believe that the price cuts haven't continued to work in Berlin and Texas. And those factories have additional capacity that hasn't been fully utilized yet.
Mhm. Mhm.
So my numbers are saying up by a hair is what to expect. And of course, if the numbers are anything other than massively above expectation, you can expect the stock to go down. And if they are massively above expectation, hey, it might trade flat.
I'm
So
my earnest expectation is if it hits the exact 1.8 or a little up or a little down, is that we will continue to move upward. That's my anticipation. But if we miss by a couple of thousand or 5,000, I think that will be devastating.
yes, and the thing to remember for me is uh, no matter what the stock does in the week following a publishing like this, the release of some big number, it doesn't matter. It's all going to come back to the fundamentals, and the
Right.
fundamentals remain sound. The I saw a gentleman on X trying to dunk on James Stevenson. Don't do that, by the way. You will not win. He is smarter. Uh, he is definitely smarter than anyone who would try to dunk on him, because smart people would know not to try that. The, the guy was saying, well, Tesla is done because even with the price cuts, their cars are too expensive, Randy. Where they need to compete is in the low cost compact space. And I said, I feel like you're getting so close to the answer, my friend. You're right there. And we are going to see the beginning of production of the compact in Texas, perhaps in Q4.
Yes.
Next Q4, Randy, not this week.
Yes.
And Mexico will be right behind it. Berlin will be right behind it. Shanghai could be right behind it. They're it's not long now until the compact comes out. And you see companies like Lucid saying, we've got in the works for later this decade a $50,000 Tesla killer. And my friend, if your price target is 50,000, you've already lost, because the Model Y is no longer a $50,000 car. And I'm going to tell you that a car that has sold millions of units is going to have higher quality than a car that has sold 3.
Right, right.
It's just,
Just gotta,
and that's not a judgment on Lucid. I can judge them plenty, but that's a judgment on any new car. The Chevy Blazer has a stop sale on it, the new electric Blazer.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
unfortunate.
Yes. And by the way, I don't know if you saw my video, and I just want to remind people, because this is not, I haven't seen anybody else say these words. 250,000 Cybertrucks will drop more profit to the bottom line than 600,000 of the new compacts.
Why are we doing a big one? This isn't green. Well, it is, because the first thing it does is pump so much money into the company that we can afford to build the compact, and that's a help. The next thing it does is it meets the customer where they are. The guy who's buying an SUV is not buying a compact instead. They might buy a SUV instead of a truck or a van. Those can be interchangeable, but there are size constraints, whether it's for practical purposes or just preference.
Right.
And a Cybertruck still gets better MPGe than a compact car that burns dino juice.
Yes, yes. Absolutely true. Well, I think that's all I had on my mind for today. Again, because I can only do this serially. I have to, so there, maybe I'll have something more on my mind after we conclude, and then we could do another one of these. What do you say?
I think tomorrow would be good, provided we wear the same outfits.
Okay, Brian, why don't we try that? This is Randy. Follow Brian on My Tesla Weekend. I think wherever you go, if you type that in, eventually you're going to find him. And, you know, you could spend money at both of our Patreons if you're feeling super charitable the day after Christmas. It's been great, Brian. See you on the flip side.